Nothing more to deal with. You persevere through the fear and the feelings that come with awareness of who you are as a person. How you handle the damage that never seems to stop coming. You don't run, you stand with a damn fist in the air. I am here, never gonna stand down. The world is fucked up, yeah. How you gonna care now? I've been watching, I've been writing boldly with my hands down on the paper, contemplating how it's gonna pan out.
Yo, it's crazy. You know what's crazy about your music? You have this ability to get me like drawn in, comforted, and then jacked up, ready to punch someone in their fucking face instantly.
Yeah.
So many of your songs, you'll come in with like this certain tone. You're like you're mellow, you're vibing, and then all of a sudden it's just like
You know, like
next thing you know, I got my girl in her chokehold, and I'm like
Yeah.
I've realized that my process that happens like unintentionally.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, I want to stay calm on this song, and then like I'll listen back to what I just recorded, and I'll just like slowly, because I just can't help the passion.
You can hear it though.
In the booth.
You can hear
know
it.
what I mean?
Nah, I fucking love. There's so many dope tracks, and we'll play a few more throughout this. But Somebody's Podcast episode 22. 22.
Sick.
We back in the building. Shout out to my brother Nico. He's back in the building. Our sponsors of this podcast, Rich Print Shop. We got a special guest in the building. But first, we got our familiar faces, Mr. Chrissy Ledusky.
Yo.
Back in the building. Mr. Baxter, J-Mac.
What up?
Mr. Justin, Recovery Conscious Mind. And we got the man to my left right here. I'm excited about this podcast. I'll tell you what, the first time I ever met you, you intimidated the fuck out of me. And then I got to know you, and you were like a very deeply like kind heart. It was like, it's like your music. I met you through Joe.
Yeah.
Like,
Picked me up at the airport.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yep.
And I sang something.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know why the fuck I did that. I still remember that. It's a complete stranger. I'm like, listen, when I just wrote in my head, I just fucking.
I love that shit, dude. I bring that out of people, man. It's the creative connection. But then there's like, I've got to see your process throughout the years. First and foremost, if you don't know, my man Terry, Right Hook, one of the most talented fucking individuals out of Boston, Massachusetts. He's a singer, songwriter, rapper, poet, artist, fucking tattoo, anything. Like just you talk about a creator's creator. I don't even know what it's like to live in your mind, because I have like passions. For me, I had like my one thing, and you've got
multiple,
so much shit going on in there, which is like exciting. You're also a man in long-term recovery, and that's why it's cool to get you on this podcast, because there is this thing, especially like a lot of creatives. You know, our minds are already warped in some. I don't even know how to explain it, but like. I talk about the addict minds like this, right?
Yeah,
and then you add the creativity, and then it starts to add fucking zigzags in that shit. And we can get lost. Like I always call it going down the rabbit hole. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like my whole life I've been that dude that people would be talking to me for like 10 straight minutes, and I'd be there physically but not hear anything that they said, or they'd be like, they'd have to hit me.
For sure.
You just
like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I get it.
But welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to hear you. I know you got a powerful story. You've done some amazing shit in your life. You've traveled. You've seen some things. You've done some things. You've fucking fallen down. You've gotten back the fuck up. You're like what we talked about last 2 weeks ago. That warrior mentality, man. That never quit, never give up. Like that inspiring shit. And I'm super pumped to have you on the podcast. And
honored to be here, dude. Honored.
And Justin is too. I was telling him, because you guys connect on the
and some weird shit.
Yeah.
Some weird shit.
Real weird shit. I love that shit. It's real.
Yeah. It's real. Yeah, it's coming.
What's the weird shit?
It's coming, dude.
Oh,
it's
man.
This
is a deep one to get in. I mean, it goes so deep. We could go any direction with this, really.
Yeah.
I'm for
We'll
it.
get to it.
No, let's not get that weird. Okay?
I don't know if we should
Let's
jump
not get
right
weird.
into that, the first fucking thing.
Let's tone the weird down.
Like the thing you were talking about, like how your passions add, on top of an addict's mind, your passions add these zigzags and fucking whirlwinds in your head. Like throughout my life, my passions have like nearly killed me.
Yeah.
Like they're so intense that I've had to figure out a way to balance them and put them down at times. And I'm just kind of figuring that out now. It's like they're so fucking intense for me that they cause some sort of suffering, which I like somewhat enjoy, because then it creates this like very, very intense product out of that. So it's like this cycle of like getting up and falling down. I think I've gotten addicted more to that than the actual getting fucked up and shit. Like the process of destroying and rebuilding is like so interesting, and it's become like a thing that I like. I'm not saying I still do, but it's just produced some of my like proudest creative moments. You know?
Yeah, no, for sure. And then there's that like question, like, because there is a process, and Jay, you can speak to this as well, like, because even with like so many fucking famous artists and stuff like that, they wrote some of their best shit in the worst points in their life, or the most fucked up, you know. And there is that transition. Like, shout out to my boy Jimmy Snaz, our boy Jimmy Snaz, everybody's boy Jimmy Snaz. I asked him about the same thing, that transition back into like, because he was like tattooing fucked up for a long time, and he was still amazing at his craft, fucked up. But then there's that process of like getting into recovery and all that, and trying to relearn like that skill set. A lot of people like they get like the mental yips with it, like they feel like they can't, or they won't be as good or as focused and all that. So has that been like a part of your transition of your process?
I think like I've learned that you don't, like, I'm grateful for all the hard times I've had and all the failures and my bottoms, but like I'm learning that I don't have to go back to them and actually live them to pull inspiration from them. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing drugs and alcohol have done for me in the past creatively, is like maybe loosen my inhibitions a little bit, and I'll try some shit that I might be a little shaky to try sober. But I've had like stints of sobriety in the past, and it's not hard to, because it's you.
Yeah.
It's always been you.
Yep.
You know? So like recognizing like it's not, none of this outside shit make me create what's already inside me.
But that's a journey to get to that point, to
for sure.
understand
The creative process, like for me, when I first ever tried to get clean, I remember actually not painting and not wanting to draw, not wanting to do anything, and just kind of was almost in shell shock, because I had been so used to, like, with my line of not work, but my line, the culture that I grew up in doing graffiti, me being fucked up, that's probably when I did the craziest spots.
Oh yeah.
Like I would be up on top of billboards,
Yeah,
or
don't
painting
give
a
a
train
fuck.
with a train going by my face, or whatever that looked like, right? There's no fear in that.
No.
There's a little bit of a rush. Then when I got clean, I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
I would doubt every little line, or if I grabbed the paint, every little thing, or trying different styles. And that's what has gotten us close over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
We're able to talk. He's sent me music, or we've talked about artwork. And then I remember a time actually that you were like, I'm fucking around with some weird shit, but I'm kind of liking it. I don't know. And he was newly clean. And it's like, I don't make music, but I make artwork. And there's times where I'd have self-doubt because I'm not just running off of the clouded judgment and head of being on drugs. So I would just send shit, like just paint it, and it's like, it's
I
out
like
there.
sending shit. I try to.
Well, I do now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Getting there to figuring out how to just send it. I don't know if you ever experienced this, but there's times where I feel like it's not even fully me.
Yeah.
Like channeling.
Yeah, 100%.
Channeling into. I've had moments of creativity, whether it was painting, drawing, tattooing, maybe because you have so much attention to it, but mainly music, where I literally feel electricity in the air. Like there's been moments where I'm like, holy fuck, something crazy is happening right now. And there's been times where I just kind of like, the brush is just kind of like a rhythm or something.
Well, he just did this the other day. I showed you that painting that he was doing. He was working on that painting we were just looking at before, and I commented on it, and then we went back and forth, and he sends me a picture after that, and the whole page, he fucking took the paint and was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And now look what you turned it into.
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead, Justin.
In the spiritual world, there's a sacred geometry of sound,
For sure.
and obviously shapes, which people express without a doubt. They don't even realize people express it, and we identify with it because it's triggering something we already know. I
for
think
sure.
personally.
Yeah, I
So when
agree.
you talk about being connected with the divine, when you're doing stuff, you 100% are. If you ask me.
Oh, and I believe, because my process, right, when I first transitioned into fucking, I wanted to be a hip hop dancer, that finding my identity and all that, walking through all those fears, I was trying to be like everybody else when I first came into it, like trying to fall in line. and it was a cool process and all this. But when I like went through this like developmental process of like just in recovery and dialogue, and I started to just get into that flow state, like trust and intuition, intuitively what I wanted to do, like what kind of made me the best at. Number one, I realized I'm a way better creator than I am a dancer.
Same thing.
Once I realized that, then I started to think of, instead of terms of like, what can I do? What can I create? Once I started creating and just going intuitively, I remember, and you can ask my brother, like 15 years ago, like I remember coming into the dance group and being like, we're doing a rock set to a hip hop dance company.
I
And they're
remember
like,
that. You would do this, but you
yeah,
would
they're
mix
like,
the
what
music.
do you, yeah, because I was like the songs that were all out during that time. They
Yeah, it was
didn't.
Aussie.
For me, my process would I'd put on music and I close my eyes and I like the adrenaline that your music gives me. If it doesn't evoke some sort of emotion, then I don't fuck with it because I'm like, what's the audience gonna feel? If the music alone by itself can't move you, no matter what you can add, you have to you're working too hard to create something. It's like I start with that, and at that time, like the music that was moving me the most was Rage Against the Machine, and
Can't
it was
go wrong with Rage.
No, you
oh
can't.
my god! And so I would take it and I'd add my own elements into
Yeah.
the song,
Yeah.
and like I'd use songs like "Killing in the Name of" and the bum 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 bum.
mean, yeah, the dance
and I'd
you
had
can do to
motherfuckers
that.
doing flips on that
Yeah.
shit, and then a dude come through the middle, come with it now, bow wow,
Yeah.
bow, and I'd speed up the tempo and I'd add fucking random sound effects.
Dude, that's the same thing as a painting.
Yeah, yo, and people
yeah.
would shit themselves in the crowd. Like, what the? I remember I did a dance routine to fucking Disturbed. Bro, I make these they'd always know because I come in because I don't flip and I don't do crazy tricks, but my brother Nico and my brother Trey and I'd be playing them the hip hop music and I mean the rock music, and I'd be like, and this is where you run out and you do a fucking layout and I want you to flip off his. I just start like
Designing.
Yeah.
And I used to see that process because he'd be on the laptop and just mixing, and you'd hear that, and I remember being like, "Oh shit!" Because I'd go to those shows, all the funk shows, and that's what was cool to be able to see that creative process, like coming up with a mix that's music that's not right. There might be like some hot track that's out that everyone's using,
Yeah.
and then these motherfuckers come
Create
up
your
with
own.
Disturbed, right? But he would have the vision and then go in and do all the choreo, and then you have all these people on stage that make that vision come true.
It's amazing.
So that's like its own artwork.
Well, we were talking the other day about like the collective, like
Yeah.
how important it is to not to bring other people into your creative process that you trust. You know what I mean?
Oh, you have
You
to.
always need a leader. You always need someone that designs and lays it out, like the trusted leader. You know.
Yeah.
But a body of work creatively is always better with a trusted collective of people.
Oh, because it's the feeding off each other, the energy. I was blessed enough that I had my two younger brothers that were equally as passionate, you know, and it was like the perfect dynamic for me because they had the ability. They weren't as much on the creative end. They didn't enjoy that process. They were more the skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a perfect combination.
Perfect match, yeah.
Like what you're doing is pretty much directing a movie. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same thing that a director does, which I've also like. I directed the video "Cry for Love." Like I think we were talking about that before, like setting up frames, and it's like a painting. Every time that frame hits, just designing and pushing that whole thing forward. I don't know if it's the same with this, but for me, I'm like always. Nothing creatively at the moment fully satisfies me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It
But I think
does a
that's what-
little bit.
But that's what helps the style progress, at least in my experience.
It's like, oh, I got that. It's always I got that 90%. So it's like, what's the
It's always
next
about-
form
so
of
the
art
next
that's going
one,
to satisfy
what's
me?
the next one?
Well, and that's where it becomes tricky with the creatives. That whole process, all this shit. It's the same adrenaline and the high with no recovery. It's like for me, I could tell when like I wasn't taking care of my spiritual condition because there was never a sense of fulfillment. I could never stop and smell the roses. It was like the second something was completed, the audience seen it, I'd have an anxiety of like, now what? Now what do I? That was as good as I could get. That how do I do something better?
Is
now?
that a bad thing though?
No, I don't. But
don't
when
think
it's
so.
all consuming, it's a bad thing.
Yeah, well-
that's
well-
the thing, and it's finding
Yeah,
the
you're right.
balance. You
Healthy
know what I
levels
mean?
to it.
Well, I had to do that this time around, getting sober.
Yeah.
Like because I would go away, get clean, and I would become so obsessed of getting back to my creative endeavors
Yeah.
that it would completely take over my life.
Yeah.
Every time. And I always had a humility problem and an entitlement problem of going back. Like I'm I'm not fucking swinging a hammer. You kidding me? I can fucking do this, and this, and this.
Went through the same thing.
I fucking had to. I had to
I just said to you outside. I was like, when I saw you on Facebook and you were posting videos, you were doing concrete, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe he's not jumping into it. But it's good for you to like
dude.
notice like the
'Cause
same pattern as
it
before.
kills me.
Yeah.
If I don't approach it the right way, like my passions kill me.
Yeah.
It's such a weird fucking thing. Paradoxal. Whatever the fuck that word is.
I knew you this time coming around, but you just seem like, dude, you're like, I'm done, dude. I'm done. Like I didn't meet
I don't
you.
like ever saying that, you know, but yeah, I do feel like that in the moment,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'm happy to see where you're at.
thank you,
I can't believe, like, when you guys are talking about, like, being creative and everything, like, one, like, I'm not artistic, anything like that. Like, I know how to play guitar, but, like, I don't have something I'm passionate about like that.
Don't you diss.
Right?
Listen, if you haven't seen his fucking,
That's
his
right.
Facebook fucking, he deleted them all off
I
Facebook.
did.
The fucking
I was so
Oh,
embarrassed.
dude,
yeah.
he has some, I don't know, what was he, like 19, dude?
Yeah, I was
He's talking-
Oh, I saw that.
For the lady. You see that,
I
dude?
fucking cringe. No, it was good. I applaud you for doing that. No, but hey, with this creative
I
shit,
forgot
this
that
this
shit.
doesn't apply to just creatives.
No,
like,
then
this
I was gonna-
translates into fucking everything.
Because, like, you said, like, the awkward of, like, I don't know if I can do this the same. I applied that to, like, learning how to, like, do everything again.
For sure.
You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But, like, how do you get to the first step? Because especially, like we talked about before, like, the music industry and the graffiti world, right? Like, music industry, huge on, like, alcohol, drugs, whatever. Like, that's what most people rap about and shit. And I know you, I mean, it definitely takes the edge off
Hold
when
on.
you're hitting a train.
Let me tell before I lose this thought, and then you can go. What you're talking about, it's not just a creative thing. What I talk about with the creative thing is that we already have a built-in obsession that's ready to go the second, like a built-in manifestation of the disease, a built-in something that the second we're like, I'm back. It's like. It's not. It's like when we talk about like how you can go on a run in early recovery with all these things. Your disease can manifest itself, and you start to like use and abuse anything, whether it's good for you or not. Without the establishment of a foundation, even the best of things, our greatest gifts, can become the weapon that the disease uses to lure us away from doing what we need to do to fuck us up.
Yeah.
So for people that already have, like Justin's developed passions and he has things that he can now become obsessed on, right? I'm sure he's found himself obsessed with Ascend, obsessed with some other things. Like, but what we start the process off and that thing's already like, bing, like I gotta get back in the, this motherfucker in early, let me just tell you about J-Mac real quick, bro. This motherfucker in early recovery, because we've lived together pretty much from the beginning to even right in this current moment, we've always lived together. And this dude would bust in the house fucking 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, yo, he's like, bro, this motherfucker went over my shit. I was in Mattapan, dude. I had to climb up on this bridge. I went over this shit, dude. I got chased by 3 cops. I jumped out a 3rd floor window, bro. This dude tried to shank me. I drove to Chelsea. I went over everything that he did. I called my boy. I'm like, yo, this is clean. This motherfucker, like,
I
crazy.
fucking love it.
He's like, I almost
Love
died
it.
3 times. Dude shot at me, missed. I fucking jumped on. I hung on to the train. Bro, you know how many fucking stories I've heard. It's an exaggeration, but it's not, dude. This motherfucker would always be in some it's like, and I would just be mind blown, like fucking, and that was just a normal thing. Like this dude could be dead asleep, get a notification on his fucking MySpace that someone and he'd be out of the house at 4 a.m. without a car. He'd get on a fucking, take a taxi. Yo, you'd be on a 10-speed bike, dude. Fucking.
No, and it's funny because it's true, and I've had to obviously dial that back down, and that was in my mid to late 20s, and that's why when people talk about passions or dedicating towards their craft as a writer and like just what I did, it was very dangerous coming up. It still can be in certain aspects of it, but I literally put blood, sweat, and tears into becoming the artist I am now, and it's like I think that's why the passion's through the roof, but in such a positive way.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I earned the stripes, so to speak. There's like that shit's really happened.
Yeah.
And
So that's just essentially what I'm saying is we have the built-in state of obsession from day one, like what it is. It's like normal people develop it over time. It's like work becomes an obsession. Stuff that you have to begin the process of finding balance, right? Finding some sense of, all right, I got to get grounded before this consumes me, before it becomes my primary focus of everything. And then that's when we begin to deteriorate on the inside. Nothing ever becomes good enough for us. We're not, and that was the thing, like when I found myself like, never even being able to enjoy a small victory. It's like, I can't even stop to be like, wow, this is amazing. You know what I mean? I'm too worried. It's like, even, I'm going to use you for example, Justin. Even I've had conversations with you when you had to ground yourself. It's like, bro, you developed a fucking amazing app, but your mind doesn't even let you fucking process that you fucking developed an app. It's
That's
like
a hard one.
On to
now
the next
it's
one.
already on.
What am I
Like
doing?
now I gotta have fun. It's like you've never even got the moment to.
Love
This
cult.
should,
Dude,
you
love
should be
cult.
out to dinner celebrating that.
I
Like
still,
fucking.
I still struggle with that. Like that's one of the main things I struggle with.
I don't think any of us can take compliments or even take like
Very hard.
Yeah.
You know, but it's okay to be an extremist.
Yeah.
But like, where's the balance in it?
Yep.
It's gotta be
There's
healthy
gotta be a
balance. Yeah.
No,
There's gotta
absolutely.
be a balance. But the thing with it is, I think it's interesting because I'm hearing all you guys talk, and we're talking about using drugs and alcohol and still being able to fulfill your passions. I mean, in AA, they say that it's a false spiritual experience. I would even argue that you're potentially even dipping into the spiritual realm. It's just you can't maintain it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Drugs
for
and
sure.
alcohol aren't a way to, but people do, they are seeking something divine in going that route at the end of the day. And
100%.
so when you're obsessed or passionate about something, you're waking up in the fucking middle of the night high on fucking what's going on. I just know for me, that's what happens to me.
Me too.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
dude, with the app, I literally was waking up in the middle of the night, fucking architecting the shit in my mind
Hell yeah.
and
Sure.
writing shit down.
Good.
And a year and a half later, it's there. You know what I mean? But that's because, like you said, I'm channeling something that's not completely mine, but I'm becoming one with it.
And,
You know what I mean?
And it's also like I've learned to like not push my hand too hard.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to channel and manifest something, like when I've pushed my hand too hard in that process, and I always destroy it, or I don't fully manifest it in the way I need. Finding the balance of like just putting enough of my foot in, but not trying to move the pieces like a control freak.
Well, yeah, because we're control freaks, and there's a piece of us that like wants to, like, it should just be a high all the time. We've been taught as mankind that it's like, oh, let's just live on this high. When it's like, when you're coming down, you need to learn something. The reason you came down is like the universe trying to teach you something about being patient, or you know what I mean? Something. But if you try to deny that, you go into fucking depression.
Yeah.
You try to deny what is, it leads to the darkness growing ultimately. Because it's like, there is a balance of light and darkness. So like,
100%.
as you're tapping into the divine here, you will feel the full fucking strength of the light. You know what I mean? But at the same note, it opens you up to experiencing the other side too, but you're experiencing the other side to teach you something about getting back. That's my experience.
Yeah.
It's kind of consciousness at the end of the day.
What you're saying, Terry, too, with not pushing it, like forcing it, basically. I just went through that recently, and I want to give a shout out to Matt Gannon, which I seen this morning. He came by to pick up that painting. I did a Phoenix painting for him. He opened up his new business, and that I had everything I needed to do that painting, and it was sitting there for weeks in Chris's garage. All the paint, the brick paneling I was doing on is on the easel, was waiting. And I can't tell you how many days I was like, dude, Matt wants that painting. You should go do it. But I just wasn't feeling. I didn't want to do it. And then the other day I was painting a big wall with my boy, and I come back up to the house, and something just clicked. I looked down. I was covered in paint
Felt
already.
it.
I was covered in paint already. I had 2 hours before I had an appointment that I had of an errand I had to go run. I went over. It was when you and Sam were going to that wedding.
Yep.
So this painting that I had been fucking making such a big deal, which I love painting, but yet because it was going to be a little different than what I normally do, I was making it a big deal in my head. I grabbed all that shit, and 35 minutes later,
Done.
not completely, but I know you'll recognize what I'm saying, and maybe you when you would mix music. The hardest part of the painting was done in 35 minutes, where the vision was there. I stood back, felt relief, and was like, "That's why I waited so long to do this."
Yeah.
You waited for it's like the divine you're saying coming down and kind of waiting for the moment where it taps you on the shoulder, and it's like, hey, I'm here now to let you go. But those experiences for me, like the first thinking about the task ahead, the thought of the task ahead is always way more terrifying than the actual task itself. It's like, what should I do? What's the first brushstroke? What's the first move after making the situation? I'll fucking drive myself nuts with thinking about how I should approach something instead of taking that leap of faith and just stepping into whatever's in front of me.
It's like sums up recovery.
And then,
It's like,
yeah,
don't
this
be
is really
scared and make
everything. This is really everything. And
Yeah.
then once you're in, every single time I take that step and I'm in the middle of what I was so afraid of, I always go, what the fuck was I so scared of? Why was I so scared?
I'm doubting
of
a
this?
painting. I've been doing it I'm 40 years old. I've been painting and doing graffiti since I was like 10 or 11. And the point of what I'm saying is I finished it, met up with Matt today, gave it to him. We sat there, it was up, and I was very proud of it, to be honest with you, because it's a little different than the way I normally paint. And it's just another notch, just like you, with all these different levels, where I was doubting doing a painting that was out of my comfort zone, and now I'm comfortable with doing that.
It's kind of like the saying, let go and let God, right? It's because you're
Pretty
trying to
much.
rush it, especially if you have a deadline or something, you're trying to rush it. But if you just, what I've learned is the second I stop trying to have control and just let nature happen, everything falls into place no matter what.
sure.
Because I'm the type of person that complicates fucking everything in my life. And what was the thing when we first started the podcast? Remember, it was like people try to connect. It wasn't Jordan Peterson or whatever, but it was trying to connect the dots. They have an end goal, and they try to connect dots. They say fuck that instead of just. Did I?
You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. But it's a matter of being patient in your process. And because me and Justin were both like wanting to interrupt you so bad, and I got in first. It's a matter. Yeah. I will never acknowledge your hand raise. It's a matter of being patient in your process and allowing, like Terry, you were talking about fucking the sense of control. That's where we fuck things up. And when you stay in the flow state and allow what you were talking about, what's important is that we set the intention, right? And it's crazy because I was just watching Jordan Peterson. He was talking about the importance of setting the intention and having a focused target. So the focused target, and then asking the universe to present, like, what is my where do I start? What is the first task at hand? And sometimes the first task at hand could be make your fucking bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take a look around your current, like, it's like before you go out and try to save the world or create this crazy world, like start where you're at, like where are you truly at? And he was talking about the power of, like, just when you set the intention and then ask, like, and ultimately why that makes so much sense to me, because a lot of my barriers to getting into like my creative place or flow state or all that is the minimalizing the little areas in my life that I fucking neglect. Like little things, you know what I mean? It's like, of course I'm not creative when I have piles of laundry all over my floor and my fucking car's a mess and it's like when my garage is you just see me go ham this weekend. I'm sorting out the clutter in my mind. I'm not cleaning because I want it to be clean. I'm cleaning because I know that sets a block for me internally. Yeah. I know it.
I get the same way too. Just by when you were like, do you think you could put the paint in there? And I did. I felt better.
Of course, and that's why when you set the intention, you ask the universe to like fucking like what are my first steps, and sometimes it starts with like a basic action of just like improvement, forward movement, progress, and then you find yourself when you start to feel better. Self-esteem is developed through that. Like you start to feel good and productive, being productive creates productivity. That's what we can start to do. That like now you're in a flow state. Like now you fucking. You feel like fucking painting. You know what I mean? You feel like being creative. It's like getting in touch with the creator and not trying to, like, a lot of the times we fuck it up because we try to bypass, like,
jump the whole thing.
Yeah.
And like what you're saying with those steps that present the small things, make your bed, whatever it is, I think people expect for those situations to happen and realize that they want to see that it's a divine, road to travel, but you're never gonna see that in the moment.
It's only in the movies.
You know what I mean? So it's like trusting that I just need to take what's presented to me and walk in the path of whatever's there, with the creator or anything like that, and do whatever's in front of you in the most positive way you can. Get up and do whatever it is. Literally, it's happened. I laid back for 11 months and a situation presented itself right now.
I was just gonna say
it's happening literally in my life, like a manifestation, a massive one for myself is literally happening right now. It's been proven to me that if you follow these steps and you trust in it, it will absolutely fucking happen for you.
100%.
And I can
100%.
feel that when we went out to dinner the other night, and right, because you talked to me when you first went to the cement. He's like, I got to pull away from you. This ain't working. It's the same vicious cycle. I'm going in the studio. I'm making music. It's 24/7 music. It's the relationship that ended. It was all that.
Yeah.
And I have a similar story, and I could feel that, where I had to get pulled away from my passions and what I truly enjoy, and literally, as fucking drastic as this sounds, hate my workday every day for a long time.
But learning, you hate it.
But it pushed me towards what I really truly enjoy, what was undeniable.
I had to walk through things that I hated and be like, I got to stop saying I hate this. Like, we all know it sucks. I'm out there in the middle of the winter pouring a fucking concrete mansion on an island for someone that lives in wherever the fuck.
Yeah, they're not
and they
even
come
there.
here for 2 months during the summer, and this thing is 12 times the size of my parents' house. You know what I mean? And I'm literally making the sandwiches for the 1% of the world, you know? I hate it. I wake up every day at 5 in the morning. I fucking hate it.
Same.
But I ask myself, why am I saying I hate this? Why do I really hate this? People I'm working with are fucking awesome people. We listen at AA speakers all day. All we do is talk about how to grow spiritually. We're working with our hands. We're building something. This is a metaphor for everything else that's happening in my life. Why do I hate this? It's temporary. Super hard. So I literally, there was days I was like, fuck this, I'm not going.
Yeah.
I mean, there was days I did not go in. There's days, you know what I mean? There's days I pulled no-shows and shit. You know, but my boss is my boy who's sober 7 years. Fucking gets it. Yeah. You know? Why do I got to stop saying these things in my head? I don't have to hate this. The way I look at this is my choice.
Yeah. It's part of your process.
That's
too.
it.
And
you
it's
know?
a shift in perception, right? It's how we choose to view and perceive what's going on in our life. When we're in a mindset that this is what it is, instead of this is just a temporary, like it's the acceptance of where you're at, and the secondary component is to take responsibility for where you want to go. It's the continuous forward movement. That forward movement for you is continuous progression, whether it just be like in dialogue with people, reaching out, connecting, like the NA speakers, the AA speakers, like having deep conversations. That's progression, and eventually that leads to whatever the next thing is. It's like Chris, for example. He's sitting here right now. He's got a very important role in the company with us. He's like one of our head in outreach. He's like this amazing dude, but his process started off from him deciding like, I'm gonna go help this motherfucker paint. He came and helped me paint. And you know what? You know how many people? I had about 20 people ask me if they could come help. We were fixing houses up, and 19 of them asked me how much they were getting paid, and one didn't.
That's what it is. Because you're at the point where that doesn't matter, you know? And that's also, then we could get it into a conversation about a fate and destiny. Like, was that his path before he made that choice? You know what I mean?
I was miserable. I was going to work and I was like, is this what I got clean for? I'm like, I was making more money, doing my hustle.
But you went in humble.
I did. And I worked with 2 guys in recovery that I got clean with them too.
What were you doing? You were a mechanic or something?
I was doing oil changes and I wasn't really doing them. I was kind of just sitting there talking shit to the guys because I was getting paid no matter what. They were a flat rate at the time. Yeah. So I was just entertainment for them. And Shane and Mike, they're both still there. And I was like, is this it? But I still went in. I was making money, saving money, making financial amends, and then.
But something internally told you.
Is this what I got to do?
But something internally during that process, though, we're talking about the progression, the internal, like even though you still had that job, something inside of you was drawing you towards Michelle with asking her if she needed help with Rise Above and all that stuff, and then you were around me, and then you were helping me out, and then it was like every day, what are you doing? Do you need help this weekend? Do you need help this weekend? Like all this stuff, and I'm like, this motherfucker,
Yeah, he's down.
He's down. Still. Never. Then he fucked around. And I offered to pay him, and he was like, "Nah, man, I just want to help. I just want to be a part of."
It's fucking amazing. I don't think I would have done that, to be completely honest. That's fucking incredible.
You know how drugs gave me a feeling like I had made it, right?
No, I get it.
And then you know what I mean. You get around certain people, you're like, "Yo, I think I made it."
Yeah.
And it was like that. It's not one to lose that because they didn't want anything from me. Yeah. I didn't want anything from them. I just wanted to be a part of something. Yeah,
it's based on the relationship, how it's making you feel, and the progression that it's giving you.
Yeah.
That's also like a testament to like coincidence, and if coincidence is even a thing, and how people come into your life at specific exact times to push you in a certain direction. Like even the situation with me, you and Jimmy, I had no fucking clue. I won't get into specifics, but I haven't seen you since I came here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, it's this circle of people that it's too much coincidence to call it a coincidence.
Yeah, it's like in the program, they say coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. But know who fucking actually said that? Albert Einstein.
Really?
That came from Albert Einstein. Yep.
Shout out to the Einstein man.
Straight smile.
Yeah. Really into spirituality, really into consciousness. Albert Einstein was. If you really study him, amazing man, obviously, but
he knows a couple things.
He knows a couple things, but he deeply believed in the universe and God and the power of the universe.
A lot of those guys. Same with
Oh,
Tesla. They get
yeah.
so deep into that shit that they start seeing unexplainable things
They
like in
can't-
their
you-
teachings.
yeah, you
in
can't-
this
it's-
research or whatever.
Dude, it's fucking, it's so wild. And this is
Are we
my
gonna
favorite
get into this?
Yeah, this is, well, here's the dope shit, because I believe heavily in the process of like the law of attraction, all that shit. The universe providing, you put out a certain energy, you put out a certain intention, and everything gets put into your life the way it's supposed to get put into your life. Specific people for specific reasons. Sometimes they're for lessons, sometimes they're for blessings, whatever the fuck it is, right? And we just got to be in a state of being open-minded to whatever the purpose they're going to serve or the purpose that you're going to serve, because sometimes you're the fucking vessel and all this shit. But when you're open-minded to it and you're able to look back in hindsight and see how meticulously placed
Yeah, it's
every
incredible.
fucking individual has been in it, good or bad,
Whatever.
right? Because some of the most important characteristics and attributes that I have inside of me internally have come from some of my darkest days and most painful moments.
100%.
That make me the best at what, like the best version of me now to do what I do now. Like
I love the darkest shit I've been through right now looking back. I fucking love the shit I've been through.
yeah, no, me too.
Everything. It builds you exactly how you're supposed to be right now in the
Yeah.
moment. You know?
Well, it was once the tool that the disease used to beat me the fuck down.
Yeah, and you
became
turned it
the tool
around.
that I used to fucking.
How fucking amazing is
It's
that?
and it's crazy. And this is what's crazy. I remember you left. You were around like a little over a year ago, and then I thought you were gonna be up in New Hampshire for a while, and I was all excited and all this shit, and then it was like, shoof, disappeared.
He was
And
out.
I remember.
I didn't want nothing to do with New Hampshire.
you
Yeah,
did.
and I remember talking to Joey, being like, "Fucking, damn man, like, I was just bummed out. I think I might even talk like we weren't
was
done with
quick.
you. Yeah, that's in my mind. I
Yeah,
was
but
like,
look,
because you were
but I'm here.
no, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
fucking crazy.
What's crazy is that I went to go visit Joe's father a couple weeks ago before he passed, and I was sitting there talking to Christine.
Shout out to Joe,
Yeah,
the man.
that's my guy. And I was sitting there talking to Christine, and she was asking, "Oh, when are you guys gonna do another podcast?" And I was like, "Oh, well, we're gonna," because we hadn't done one in a while. She was like, "You know who you need to have on there? My cousin Terry."
Really?
I swear to God,
I didn't
ask
even
her.
know that.
That's weird.
That was before.
That was the day before Jimmy came to my house. Dude, ask Jimmy.
Fucking weird.
She was
What
like,
the fuck?
"Bro,
Yep.
I was." That's what I said. That's what I said to Jimmy. I'm like, "This is fucking crazy," because
Hey, that's
Christine was
fucking
like,
fate right
"You
there.
gotta have Terry on the
We're
podcast."
meant to be together.
Dude, that's why I said to you, I was like, "You can't." We were after dinner. I was like, "You can't escape me, motherfucker."
It's insane.
And then
man.
Jimmy comes to my house the next night with this grand idea of like all this stuff, and he's talking to me about this dude, and he's like, "Terry." I'm like, "Terry." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
They didn't put two and two together.
I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude, let's get this."
Yeah.
And then next
Then
thing you know, boom.
And
And then
I went walking in too, and I was like, "Who got that fucking black car?" And as I walk in, I see you and Jimmy, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
And we all went
And
out
now
to
that
dinner.
that whole thing is turning into it, me and Jimmy stayed up till 3-4 in the morning talking about all this shit, as we all did too. Like had really in-depth meetings and talking about the ideas. But this thing is turned into something way different than just a tattoo shop.
Oh, for sure.
This is a collective of some serious
Oh,
shit going down.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I'm
my
not going to
mind.
say the
Dude.
name. I'm not going to say specific.
Oh, everybody
I don't-
will see. And then when we're officially open, when everything's
I'm
opened
gonna
up,
come in with a face tat.
come in with
Yeah,
man.
first tattoo I do, face tattoo, Chris.
We're coming. You, Jimmy,
Matching.
Yes.
who Kyle, like once that shit. Because I told you I'm a Bugzilla. Everybody knows I'm a Bugzilla. So that whole idea that you were talking, like that shit's
just
gonna.
wait.
That shit's
I
gonna
have
be
that whole
done.
list, by the way.
Oh, let's get it, bro.
It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Like an incredible operation.
No, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm ready for all that.
More to be revealed.
Yeah,
but
more to be revealed.
We're gonna stop, take a quick pee-pee break. All right, so we're back from the pee-pee break. Chris's little weak bladder over there.
I'm sorry.
You know what I mean? So we're gonna talk a little bit about this song.
What do we got behind the blinds?
Yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'll wait till we hear the lyrics, but I think
I'll let you interpret.
Yeah.
I got all the doors locked, and I'm peeking out the blinds.
All right, so we'll stop there for a second. So just because we have some people in the podcast from the lyrics, just so you know, I've got all the doors locked, and I'm peeking out the blinds. I'm gonna continue going.
I wonder what it's about.
Chris is like, "Were you sober?"
In the sky to come and get me, yes, I'm out my mind.
So there's some helicopters in the sky that are coming to get him because he's out of his mind. So we're gonna let's let that rock, and then we're gonna take a collective guess.
Oh, we're guessing the drugs he was on.
No. Yeah, hold on, don't.
Alex.
Well,
It's technically a love song.
What do I do? I'm waiting for the sound, and if I had a gun, who knows what I'd do?
that fucking beat's nasty. All right, so let's talk about that. Just that first verse for a little bit, because not everybody's going to interpret that the way that we interpret that.
no
They're just
way.
going to think about a guy just locked the doors,
Losing his mind.
just peeking out the blinds.
Having a tough day.
and there's really helicopters outside, and
did something bad.
You know,
he might have done something
I don't
bad.
know what he did.
I know
He's
I'm
on the
feeling
run.
those lyrics because I have to shit right now.
All of a sudden, I have to take a shit.
So on the count of three, maybe we'll just go.
All right. On the count of three, just say one word of whatever you think it's about.
Okay, ready?
One, two, three.
Crack. Oh, wow. Oh,
Same thing, but yeah.
what was it? Would you say meth?
No, coke.
I was joking saying
crack.
that, but when we just
Crack,
counted, I said
yeah.
crack.
cocaine.
Coke, a little cocaine.
My man.
Yeah, bro.
My man.
Yeah, bro. You know how many times I remember my old sponsor, he relapsed, and I went to his house to see if he was all good, and he wouldn't answer the door. He was standing in his underwear, peeking in the blinds, and then he'd leave my vision, and he'd go behind this wall, and then he'd peek his head out to see if I was still there, and then he'd go back behind the wall, and then then he'd walked real fast across the room, and then he peeked out the other side.
Psycho.
Oh,
Dude, that's nuts.
See, like that song, for me, that song's super embellished. Like, I did my fucking thing with that drug and took it to the max. But I really wasn't a blind peeker. But I knew if I got to write this in a way where everyone how everyone
It was
talks
the visual
about
of it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Oh,
But it was real.
That's gonna hit home for a lot of our fucking listeners.
That was real though.
Shout out Michelle.
Yeah. Shout out.
We want to get really real.
Oh, always.
I had the video shoot
Yep.
coming, and the night before I'm not gonna stay up all night. Like, I'm not getting high tonight. I'm just gonna chill. I get the video shoot. I did this one on AAF live too. Ended up fucking. Can we just say straight up what I did? Does it matter? Can I?
You say whatever the
Send
fuck
it.
you want.
Fucking send it, bro.
I shooting coke all night long before the video shoot. I'm like, fuck, I did it again.
Yep.
The next morning, I think I was still doing pills at the time, so I could take Suboxone. But I was so fucking sick the next day, and all the video guys are showing up, and my manager, and I'm sick as a fucking dog.
Oh, God.
Had to take a piece of a Suboxone to get through the fucking... So in that, I actually love the video, because in the video, I look like complete fucking shit. But it's real, because I was up for days. And I also did that. I performed on AAF in the morning on the radio show, to fucking thousands and thousands of people, and did the same thing.
What do they call that when art meets fucking? What's that phrase that somebody send me a lifeline because you're all looking at me stumped. When
I was just watching the hands. He's trying
when
to pull the
art
meaning somewhere.
in
Pull
life,
it up,
when
pull
it that fucking
Oh, when life imitates art.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
yeah, that.
I'm not saying any of this shit to glorify it or anything.
Nah.
It just took me on some wild fucking journeys, you know. It was,
No, for sure.
but I did some terrible, I performed on AAF to however many people and botched it, bad.
oh yeah.
You know, because I showed up fucking no sleep.
They noticed you were fucked up, or were they just
like Mistress Carrie was looking at me.
Who else was on the show when you did that? Was it
What's his name?
the guy from the Bruins?
No, what's the other dude's name? The guy that's always on. I forgot his name.
Well, dude, you ain't the first dude to show up to do a live show on AAF. Fucked up.
I showed up in dress pants and dress shoes, and a vest, dress shirt, unbuttoned down to here. I was my body was so fucked up. I had propecia, I was losing my hair and my beard. There was a big hole in my beard and shit.
Yeah.
They're like, you look great. We're on air in
Showed
5
up
minutes.
let's fucking go. Let's do this song.
What are you doing after the show, baby?
Yeah, it was terrible. They're you need to leave after this. Man.
They're like, we hit our wallets and our car keys. So you gotta
Well,
get
that
the fuck
sucks,
out.
man. That shit. Oh man, the amount of. All right, well, we can go into like a real conversation about this of like how that lifestyle inhibits you from actually like accomplishing shit, man.
Yeah.
Like I've squandered so many massive opportunities because I just couldn't get fucking real with myself and get rid of this monkey on my back, you know what I mean, and actually take a look at the real problem, which was me, you know. And I would never ever admit it to myself, never mind other people.
Yeah.
You know, situations where a big thing was on the table, got to go fly somewhere, and I don't show up to the flight because I'm dope sick. And I miss like a life-changing opportunity because I can't get down with the truth of myself. You know, I can't handle it. I can't face myself, you know, all the trauma and everything that comes with it.
Nah, absolutely. But and it's important for people to hear that shit, right? It's important for anybody to hear going through a process. And the important part of that too is that a lot of people take that information they gather and think they blew it, right? They think they fucked it up, you know? And I know that I thought the same thing, right? Because when I first got introduced to like the dance world and all that shit, I was 17, and then I got to like a little bit of exposure, some opportunity. I got to do like a few cool things, but then I was shooting heroin, and my mother sent me a video the other day of me fucking high as fuck dancing in the kitchen. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to
we
see
see
that
it?
shit though.
Yeah, now I look at it and it's fucking comical, dude. I was actually in a boy band when I was like 16.
Amazing.
And I was on the stage singing, and I was so geeked up on Adderall. I remember sniffing the Adderall before that, and I'm like, oh, baby, I would. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Smoking a cigarette as you're
The worst
saying.
part about that is my mother was proud in the fucking audience. You know
Well,
what I
because
mean?
it's your mother.
Yeah, no, for sure.
you know?
And also, she
One of our two listeners.
She is one of our two
That's
listeners.
amazing.
And she's the fucking, her telling me I could sing is lying to me and telling me that I could sing had me sniffing Adderall, getting in the boy band, fucking on stage. So partly your fault, Mom.
Thanks,
So,
Mom.
The point I was trying to make though was fucking, I remember having that like fucking the definitive idea of like that those days are over, right? And then like statistically you're thinking like the 27-year-old dancer doesn't usually pop off, you know, like I'm like a fucking just a world beaten 27-year-old roofer. So like you're talking about being a mason, like bro, at least you look like you could do that job. You know what I mean? Like
I can do that job.
yeah. Well, dude, I look like a bitch, and
He's so stupid.
Yeah.
no, I gruffed up now. But underneath this big ass beard, there's no chin, and it's just a skinny
I
little.
do. Hey, I
a
grow
fact.
this beard to hide the no chin.
Dude, I have zero
I'm like,
chin.
I gotta fucking lengthen this part of my face out a little bit.
Oh, bro, it's brutal. Hey, the worst thing I ever did, because I have the biggest piece of shit friends like J-Mac, was when I shaved my beard, and I posted a picture on Facebook, and this
You were proud, too.
motherfucker roasted me so hard that it fucking went like friend viral, like where like all of them just started feeding off each other. It went from the fact that I had no chin to next thing you know, Jay's like, damn, I didn't know if you shave off your beard, your eye gets crooked. And then in the picture I took, my eyes looked crooked. I was like, these motherfuckers. And I was getting roasted so hard, I couldn't delete the photo because then it just looks like,
No.
and I couldn't respond because they were on fucking
You gotta
fire.
run with it at that
Yeah,
point.
I just had to
but
sit
those
back
are
and
the-
let it.
Those are the best friends you can have.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that's because we talking about being uncomfortable with compliments and shit like that.
Yeah,
like
that's tough.
that makes me uncomfortable. That is like
Better.
That gets me. I love that shit.
Because
Like,
I think partly because where we're from, we're used to that shit growing
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
You know,
Roasting and
you
talking
have to
shit.
roast each other.
He's comfortable with that. I like going up to him purposely and just giving him a
Yeah,
random
it's the
hug. And he's
best.
like, oh, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
all types of-
I malfunction.
And
I'm
if
like,
you-
And I do it on purpose. I'm like, how you doing?
Yeah, that's the best. And when you're a kid, if you can't handle it, like you became a target back then.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you had to be able to handle it.
oh, and it makes you quick with the tongue.
Yeah, it's
it
the
makes
best.
you fucking
I struggled with that a little bit, but yeah.
nah. But what I was making a point for
knows?
what the fuck was I even talking
Don't
about?
shave. Don't
Yeah,
shave.
don't shave.
Yeah, don't shave.
So
Don't
just-
ever shave.
You're
Wait, so you
looking
shaved
like a
him?
bitch,
Oh,
becoming
no,
a
no, no,
routine.
no.
He's the one
Yeah.
that shaved him?
He shaved him.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
And then-
I don't remember doing that.
He was
No,
your
you-
barber. He's like, yeah, you should do
you
it.
didn't
He said
shave
he'd
me.
do it.
Yeah, you did it yourself or something.
I did it
Like,
myself.
Yeah.
And I remember when I went full Britney Spears and I shaved my head because I was starting to thin, and then I realized how fucking ugly I am with a bald head, and my clippers died out halfway, and I went to the
Oh,
barber
man.
shop all defeated, like, Jay, fade it or something, do something. Oh, it was brutal.
Craig,
But
that
the
was
fucking
crazy.
point I was trying to make is that the definitive idea of like that this is done, it's a wrap. So because we go based off of logic or statistics or whatever the fuck. But when you get in touch and get into this like whole like weird shit that we talk about, which isn't weird, it's actually backed by science. Justin will get very heavy on that
Yeah, I
shit.
want to get in.
And we're going to transition to that. But when you get into that flow state and when you get into in tune with energy and you get into the power of your mind and you start to work recovery and you start to connect and you allow the universe to like unfold and you stop trying to make things happen and you allow things to just happen organically and you stop being around the right people who are going to motivate you and push you and lead you and guide you and all this shit, what we can accomplish is fucking miraculous. You know what I mean? Miraculous. And that's why I was able to transition. That sounds fucking terrible. Not that type of transition. Like the transition from
Yeah.
yikes, from fucking from.
Just lost some followers, but go ahead.
Yeah,
No, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that
We're
that's
down to
not my
1.5.
story.
That's not my path.
Yeah, that wasn't my path.
I would just still love you.
I still love everybody. I was able to transition from roofing into the dance world and then do what I did with the dancing. You know what I mean? When obviously logic says that shouldn't be possible. And I know I bring it up often and all that shit. But what I'm talking about is the power of like that belief, right? And the focused energy and focused intentional thinking and like what you think and what like being clear on the identification of what it is that you want and getting fucking past and letting go of the how component of fucking shit, because that's the stuff that breaks us down, right? And I was watching this video and it shows you the power of focused thinking when you have a clear identification of a target. The gorilla video when they I showed everybody how powerful their mind was. I put it on the TV and in the video it's like watch. Count how many times the people in the white pass the ball. And it's got these people on the TV and they're passing the ball back and forth and everybody watches it and everybody's all excited at the end. They go 16 and it says 16, but the video has nothing about the ball. It has nothing to do with the ball. Because then you rewatch the video and in the video, well, it asks, did you see the gorilla? And people are like, what? It's like, did you see the curtain change from green to red? Did you see the girl leave the video? And everybody's like, no. And then they rewatch the video and all of a sudden you see the gorilla. And like this dude in a gorilla suit
right in the
walks
middle of the
right in
group.
the middle of the
You don't even
screen,
see it.
Yeah.
and fucking bangs his chest. And then one girl walks off the screen, and then the whole color of the curtain changes color.
Yeah.
But nobody fucking noticed
So
it.
focused.
Because it's the focused thinking. So that's why the video that I was watching, it was Jordan Peterson. I reference him a lot because he's super intelligent, and he was talking about being clear with the identification of your target, right? Focused thinking, and it'll move out all that bullshit. The bullshit being like the gorilla to me and the people leaving and all that stuff is the naysayers, the doubt, the fucking the people that aren't supposed to be there. It's like being clear in the intention, right? And what you're supposed to see and all that stuff will reveal itself to you, and it'll lead and guide you in this process. And it's like, we get so consumed in the how of things. We get so consumed in like what we think logic tells us or what we think fucking the world tells us, society tells us. And that's what cripples and breaks us down. But when you just get like clear in intention and do this shit, man, it kind of unfolds for you.
And there's no reason, whenever I approach something like that, I always ask myself, what's stopping me from doing this? Why can't I do this? Everything I approach, I want to be the absolute best at it.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why you can't get there, with that clear, focused intention. It's honestly a few simple steps to get to that point, but it's like believing in yourself and feeling your destination before you go there and believing that it's already happening,
Yep. Key to the law of attraction.
100%.
It's already living in the state of the success, the feeling of the success.
Yep.
So like
I'm
when
already
you
that
guys,
person.
Yeah, when you guys were talking about North Street and what it's already become, you've already created the energy of what it's going to become. And
now it's all folding in and
exactly,
happening.
and now it's coming. Exactly. So
it's like that being a part of that, like that moving energy. Like there's everything around us that we can't see. There's moving energy everywhere. Which one are you going to choose to ride? Which wave are you going on? Every time I took the wrong path, I'm riding a frequency and an energy wave that's bringing me more and more darkness. That's just the way this works.
yeah.
And how powerful too, dude. So Justin's been on the Joe Dispenza shit for a long time, and I'm like very late to the party. And so, honestly, what got it wasn't even like the Justin pushing me to, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to him. But I'm like reading a book about Jesus right now. I'm like weird. I read random books and all this time, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to it. And I went and spoke in the South Shore for my buddy Eddie, and a girl came up to me after, and she was like, you listen to Joe Dispenza, don't you? And I was like, I don't. And she was like, oh my God, like you have a lot of the same, like what the, and I was like, let me see what this dude's about. I'm definitely not. I have like a small fraction of, but the way, bro, his story of getting in that car accident and his spine being all fucked up and them telling him he wasn't going to be able to walk and he wasn't going to be able to, and he visualized on a daily basis for 6 weeks. He kept envisioning his spine healing and the discs going back into place and all this shit. And he continued to visualize like mentally. And he said it was hard at first. He could only hold the focus for a certain amount of time, but he kept fucking practicing it for like 6-7 weeks. And his fucking spine, like he's like a miracle of like,
Holy shit.
He was never supposed to walk.
He was never supposed to walk again.
Humans have forgotten how powerful we actually are. You know, I think at some point in history, we were 100% in tune with this. There's the secret knowledge behind all this stuff.
Ancient civilizations,
100%,
without a doubt.
yeah.
We
Egyptians.
knew all this.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about the implications of that. The implications of that are the pharmaceutical companies and everything being gone, dude. Literally gone.
Oh,
we do have the capabilities to heal ourselves.
100%.
100%.
Joe Rogan had he had a guy on there talking about the power of breathing and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
and he was talking. So apparently I breathed wrong, which blew my fucking mind, and I didn't think I was breathing wrong until I actually started to breathe the way he was talking about. And
What's
I
his
was
name? Wim
Yeah,
Wim Hof.
Wim Hof?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
The
guy
Wim
that
Hof.
hikes- is that the guy
Wim
that
Hof
hikes?
method.
The Wim Hof method. Yeah.
30
dude,
seconds.
He meditates in like 0-degree weather for hours at a time.
He hikes
Gets-
barefoot,
no,
right? That the guy?
Steam comes off of him.
We literally
he
have
can
the
regulate
power.
his temperature. He can regulate. Dude,
Yeah.
he's hiked mountain. He's hiked like 16,000-foot mountains, like in
With no
shorts.
oxygen?
Yeah.
No
And
oxygen.
below
shorts.
below zero,
Below
type
zero,
of shit.
made it to the top.
He has
got
such
back.
control over his. He can
Yeah,
change
through
his
deep breath
body
work.
temperature,
Yeah.
and that right there shows us that literally we have the power to create whatever we want at the tip of our fingers. You know, we are the originators of the flame, but we don't even realize it.
oh, 100%.
You know, and there's this secret knowledge shit, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
research it more and more, it goes so fucking deep. So it's just insane that humans have lost touch with the capabilities that
It's
we
like-
actually have.
Justin's tattoo on his neck. It says what?
Yeah, go within or go without.
Yeah, which is like
All the powers within. We
So-
have all the power within, but we've been programmed by society to seek everything outside of ourselves to feel better. But in doing that, you're disempowering yourself. You're actually cutting yourself off. And then we start to, we're programmed all this negative thinking bullshit about ourselves and that we're not capable of doing stuff and don't do this. And if you think about it, your mind can just block you from going within. You know what I mean? Like if you just think about it, like
There's so much distraction.
yeah, like you can't get to the power. But the second you open your mind, the second you become open-minded, all of a sudden you're connected. Your spirit can connect to source, and all of a sudden miraculous things will happen in your life, guaranteed. And do they happen right away, instantly? No. But it's like you were talking, and I tried to pipe in like an hour ago, but I couldn't get in.
Let's go deep. Let's go. Let's do
But you were
this.
talking about, doing things when they like it's the principle of discernment. Discernment, nobody teaches discernment. Discernment is reading energy and making decisions based on it. So when you have an energetic thought about something and it gets you excited, you pursue it.
100%. Yeah.
When you're not thinking, you know what I mean? And when you have other thoughts about like, this sucks or I don't want, you know what I mean? Not to say you can't change your thinking, you can, but at the same note, when you start listening to your intuitive self speaks to you through energy. And so when you can start to listen to yourself and do things based on energy, then you start to give your focus to things that will quickly manifest. When you're just in a forced state of trying to push things and make things happen, it becomes stressful and it becomes hard and it feels like it's not going to work out. And it's because you're not in the flow at that point. You know what I mean? You're pushing. And I'm not saying you shouldn't push. There's a lot of success teachers out there about push. You know what I mean? Give 100%. But again, the problem with giving 100% is if you give 100% to one thing, you're not giving energy to other areas of your life that you need. So you give 100% to your music, but you end up a drug addict.
Yeah, that's what it's been every single time.
Like,
you know?
so
it's like
so
you said,
giving
reading that
100%
energy
to
too.
something is not always the correct teaching, because if you give 100% to something, you're unbalanced at that point. You know what I mean? So you need to give some balance to, you need to give some energy to your spirit. You need to give some energy to your artwork. You need to give some energy to your family. You need to give some energy. Like, you have to spread your energy around. And if you don't, it's easy when you become obsessed about things, all the things you're ignoring all of a sudden start crumbling in on you, and you become stressed out, and you feel like, how do I manage this business? I have no idea. It's like, it's because you have too much focus, too much obsession on one thing.
And I think you don't realize that reality is a product of consciousness, not the other way around.
Correct.
Our consciousness is not a product of this reality.
Yeah, we're creating.
We're creating. This theory is that this only exists when we're looking at it,
It's not. I mean, it's not even a theory. It's
I believe
almost
it, but
proven at this point.
that's what I'm saying.
With
The
the double
atoms.
slit experiment.
Double split, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to tell them about the double split, you could probably explain it a little better than I can.
So I don't. I'm.
It's hard. It's all right. It's when they.
It's pretty much like that.
It's light. They have two slits, and they shine light through these two slits, and it's supposed to read a certain way on the next thing that the light is reflecting off, but it doesn't.
It reads one way when you're looking at it, and one
so
way when you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Quantum physics, motherfucker.
physics,
I saw that shit.
So what it is there's light and then there's matter. They're two different things. Matter is form. Light is not form. It's still in wave form. So if you're looking for light, it returns light. If you're looking for matter, it returns matter, which doesn't make any sense. Because by science terms, it can't be both. So what is that telling you? That's telling you that whatever you're observing, it feeds back to you.
Yep.
So what we're looking at, we're actually creating.
Yep. The reality only exists to the observer. That's it.
Exactly. And if you go into Joe Dispenza's work, you go into Greg Braden's work, I would check out Gaia if this stuff interests you. Gaia is badass. You'll dive into a wormhole of being like, holy shit, this is deeper than I realized. And the cool thing about addiction is that addiction forces us to answer these questions. It's like in ways we're denying our existence here, and when we get into recovery, it's like, no, you have to.
I almost think that my path of darkness with addiction was like
to wake you up.
Yeah, and it was like a predetermined path for me to be able to take a look at like we all have the chance to study these things and learn about these things. I would never be interested in this shit, or neither would any of us if it wasn't for the path that caused it. You know, so it's pretty intense itself right there. So
Yeah, that you decide you decide your path before you come here. You might have chosen some darkness to get you to the light,
which is great. There's a lady, Dolores Cannon. She's like a
spiritual hypnotist.
Yeah, and she does regressive hypnotherapy.
I'm just waiting for them to go, did we just become best friends?
I'm waiting for them to.
Yup.
I'm waiting for them to kiss. Nico,
Do you want to go do spiritual kung fu in the basement? Yup.
Yup. So she has supposedly regressed people, has a method to regress them back to their like soul essence.
Yeah.
And is somewhat figured out that we've talked about it, we're in an ascension. Mm-hmm. The earth is rising its frequency into the age of Aquarius.
The age of Aquarius, motherfuckers.
Consciousness will change, clairvoyance, different things.
Will become telepathic. And it's a very, very long process, but we're somewhere in the middle of it. Yeah. 700 years. It just started.
Souls are being sent here, and I think the generation before us was the first, wave of souls to be sent here to help the human race ascend to this next level of vibration and frequency. And I think our generation is the second wave, and then there's the indigo children, which are the last wave of souls to be sent, and they have everything that's needed to help the human race ascend to the next level. And the other generations have it too, but as a collective,
they're coming in. They're coming in
now.
More light. Like they're coming in with more knowledge. It's interesting because we love to criticize the young generation right now, saying they're lazy and they're all this other stuff. But what if they're actually just rejecting the bullshit programming that's been taught the whole time, and they're not buying in to go get in the fucking 9-to-5 job because they want to be their creative fucking selves and truly be the spiritual being that they fucking are. So it's interesting because when you look at the young generation, I'm taking these young kids to deep breathworks. I did it today. Dude, they just fucking let go in the sessions, dude. They're fucking letting shit out. We had a session today. It was incredible. And it was the young kids that like are just willing to just open the fuck up, dude. Yeah.
It's because they're more connected. And the soul gets here, and it doesn't remember its purpose. But they're more intuitive with everything, and they have an easier time letting go and getting to that point, as where people in generations before question the shit out of this stuff.
We've built all these egotistical walls, these belief systems.
I mean, we've been taught not to believe any of this.
That we're
Nobody wants us ascending. The powers to, let's be real, the powers to be that do not want the human race to ascend. Everything will completely change. Powers will be broken down. Society will be completely changed and leveled out.
Yeah.
And whoever's in power does not want that.
Competition will go away. Cooperation will become a thing.
I'll be able to look at you and know your exact intention. We will know each other's exact intentions just by looking at each other. And can we say that we're not already somewhat there? Like, do you not already feel like I already feel like that a lot of
we
the
talk
time.
about it often.
Energy people give
I
off.
talked about it with you, and I talked about it with Justin. Like this whole, you can just look, if you go on social media or whatever, you look at what's happening with the world. It's like it's like a slow process of this collision that's about to take place, and it's gonna go boom, and it's gonna get bad before it gets
It's going to get worse before
before it gets better. But it's like it almost has to happen. It's like part of the darkness component in our story that we're grateful for. It's not going to be for us to understand it. Even right now, like if you were to just really settle in and look around at we've never been more divisive. We've never been more tribal. We've never been more like it's this or that. Pick a side. Fucking like people's opinions are offensive now. People's like philosophies. It's like it's fucking wild. And I find myself like, because I got off social media, all this stuff, because she was talking last week, that girl was talking about she feels energy and all that stuff. I'm similar in that, like I feel it. So I can get off Facebook and just have like 100 different emotions that I'm going through. You know what I mean? Like, and then it almost makes me combative. Like I want to like jump in and protect these people, stick up for this person, stick up for, like I'm the type of dude that just wants to take the side that's getting fucking bullied. I don't like any of that. You know what I mean? I'm not even truly on anything. I'm all about, and we talk about this a lot in the earlier podcasts, like the antidote to all this shit is love, right? Yeah. It's like even my buddy that was seeking some spiritual fucking, he went all the way to California to hear a dude speak, a convention speaker from NA, and he was like direct lineage, like Jimmy K's fucking right hand, like they were like 1 and 2, you know what I mean? And he was waiting for this big fucking profound message that this guy was going to say, and the guy even brought it up. I know you're waiting for something profound from me, but I'm going to tell you what it is right now. It's just love. Just love each other.
Very simple.
Love each other unconditionally. Remove all the stuff, the ego, the judgment, the this, pretty much this or that. Like, just love each other. But people want to reject that because it seems so simple. It seems too simple to work, right? Yeah. It seems like, nah, fuck that. It's like, and I try to, and so if you can't change it so this is the state where I'm in right now. Because you can't create change on the whole, but you can create the ripple effect, right? And I truly believe that. You start on the individual level. You start in the home front. How am I giving and receiving of love to my immediate, right? And then once you know that you're okay in that area, like I'm in a state of evaluation. How am I with my family, my wife, my daughter, my son, my dogs, all this stuff. And now I can take it one step further. What is my giving of love to my immediate circle, my friends? You know what I mean? Am I a good friend? How am I contributing to their, like, and I go from there, because I know if I can make an effect on the immediate people in my life and my family front, then they can make an effect.
It's infectious.
It creates the ripple, and that's how you create change, right? Through
people
the love.
They can't. People think I'm one little tiny person. It's infectious. You know, this is all a snowball effect, all this type of stuff.
Oh, no, I truly believe that.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm looking forward to whatever's going to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I hope we're here to see.
Dude, I want to live till I'm old. 120. I want to see it. Dude.
I want to see it. I don't know if it's going to happen. While we're
they
still
say
alive.
it's going to happen. They say technically this period is going to last for potentially 700 years is what.
But I mean, I don't know if we're going to experience the full ascension.
I mean, there's some people that believe that Trump is a light worker and is going to completely change things. We'll see, dude.
And then there's some people that think he's the Antichrist.
Well, exactly, dude. After the election, if he does universal income and he like forgives all debt, consider him a light worker. I'm saying it now.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen? I have no fucking idea.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, I'm fucking open to it. It's like,
I'm racking up so much debt then.
Oh, I just hope he gives us a heads up if he's about to forgive some debt. You know what I mean?
it's
I'm
a,
gonna go out
ru-
there
it's
and
a
make that
rumor in the
motherfucker
spiritual. It's a rumor in the spiritual.
You get a
community.
car. You get a
It's a
car.
rumor in the spiritual community,
Which is crazy.
which is crazy. I don't
But you don't
disagree.
know.
But who knows?
Did you not
if
get
that
the
shit
acid?
happens,
You don't
I'll
know.
fucking believe.
Hey, have
That's
you
the bottom line.
I didn't get my
topic,
acid dose. Dude, what the?
If we talk about politics, shut my mic off. Right now.
off topic completely, but have you researched simulation theory at all?
A little bit with Greg Braden,
It's
like that we're
fucking
living in a
ri-
matrix.
Yeah, it basically the concept is eventually humans will create a virtual reality that's indistinguishable from our actual base
Some
reality.
people think we're already in it.
So watch. I
Yeah.
mean, the odds are pretty against us that we're actually in base reality, but we're already
Yeah, they are.
creating.
They say-
look at the trajectory of video games now and their effects. Like we already have virtual reality that's like pretty fucking realistic.
Yeah.
Eventually, that will become indistinguishable from this, right? And you won't be able to tell the difference. Once that happens, it's kind of like a singularity type of thing. Then within that virtual reality, that reality will be able to create their own virtual reality. So and then it's
Now we're in that
one,
movie with
one.
Leonardo
Yeah,
DiCaprio.
but it's
But is that how the universe creates itself?
Titanic?
At the end of the
also
day.
exactly like people think it's a fake thing.
Man,
that
you
could
guys are
just
pissing
be
a
an
cup after this.
organic process.
Well, people don't realize what's happening. I mean, Neuralink is going to have Neuralink.
I don't
is
know
gonna
how
have
I
a
feel
chip.
about Neuralink.
Well, I agree with you. There's debates. So Neuralink
Neuralink?
Neuralink
Internet
is
for the world?
No, it's putting a chip
Elon
in
Musk
someone's
is
head.
creating.
Raccoon City.
Oh, they've
can
already
access-
done it.
I know.
They've already done it in Europe. They can put a chip in your head. They say that they're going to be able to solve like pretty much any disease.
Be able
You have
to walk.
paralysis,
Yeah, anything.
You have paralysis, no problem. You put this chip in your head, you're going to be able to walk again.
Also, you can,
Can
just
it-
Google search. Right
Can
in
it
your
grow
head.
my hair back?
Dude, Google search.
Anything.
Dude, anything.
dope.
Grow your hair back,
Grow
no
your-
Put
problem.
it in. I'll
Dude,
take it.
Gain
Grow your
extra
hair
couple
back.
inches.
But like even beyond that, you talk about telepathy, but they're saying that we're going to be able to communicate with the chip in our head.
So is that the process?
So is that the process?
don't
Is it
know.
part of our process? But there's also the question. So people are scared of AI and it's going to take us over, and you know what I mean.
I'm
The
pretty nervous about
singularity.
AI. We're already almost there.
Dude, I
But
could
at the
take the
same note,
Terminator. I don't know about you guys.
If you believe in consciousness, you should watch the movie Transcendence, because Transcendence
Johnny Depp.
is the flip of it.
Yeah.
The flip is if we develop that much intelligence, are we going to destroy ourselves, or will we
I
ascend
think
to a higher
we will
intelligence?
become integrated at some point, but then it's based on your belief is that is that the ascension of the human race?
It might be.
It might be.
It might be. Dude,
Transcend-
we're 10 years away, though. People don't realize how
we're very fucking
quickly
close.
people are advancing. They're saying that 8 years now of evolution is like 100 years
Yeah,
in
we're
the
in the
past.
process
From
of
1900 to
this, yeah.
2000. From 1900 to 2000 was 100 years. We eclipsed that technological advances in 8 years now. So every 8 to 10 years, the world is going to drastically change.
Well, they're saying
from here
within
on
that
out.
time, you at some point you'll eventually be able to download someone's consciousness into a computer, and that person can be put wherever.
Supposedly they've already done it.
I
You
need to
can
take a
find-
nap after this conversation.
Dude, they
Nah,
say
fuck
that
You
Google-
ever watch that show on
I want to
Netflix?
dim the lights
with
for
the Black
Justin
Mirror?
Terry.
Yeah, no, not Black Mirror. The one that's just about they put the consciousness and they call bodies sleeves. And
Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon.
That's a
yeah.
great show.
Yeah.
But that's literally the premise of it is, you'll literally be able to take someone's. But at that point, is it really them?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know?
I don't know. Who are we?
Who am I?
What-
Where am I? What is this? Who is that? Who are you?
What just happened?
That's what you,
Hey,
that's
we
like.
can go even deeper with this shit. I love
Oh,
this fucking
fuck.
shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck, we just lost all our subscribers.
Nah, fuck that. We just gained 3 more.
They're like the cast of
I just
somebody's
love
relapse.
J-Mac's face. He goes into a
literally
state
like,
of
what the fuck is
2 weeks in a
happening
row.
right
He
now?
goes into like a state of pain. Like you could at first he's like, all right, I'm gonna fuck with this. I'm gonna try to continue.
Can't
And then you just
handle the
You just see him
information.
fucking dying in his shit. Like, oh.
If you look over, it's just the mic.
Yeah.
He left.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I love that shit too. Fuck. We talk about whatever the fuck we want.
Would
on
you
here.
take the chip?
Yes.
You would.
Why the fuck not?
So it goes in your head, and you have your phone now and everything it can do.
Yep.
Right there with a thought.
Oh, like, would I be like
You
Neo?
would do it?
Where I'm like,
Your
I
boy
know-
comes at you with an
I know
attitude. You're
I
like,
Kung
wouldn't
Fu.
do it.
your battery's running low. Plug in,
You would
buddy.
be one of the
Plug
first
in.
people to do it. You would do it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll
that.
let you do it and fucking test it out on you for a while.
That's how bro. That was my whole life. People like try this.
Me too. I
No
get
doubt.
it.
All right.
I get it. I
He's like,
get
why
it.
start
Yeah.
now?
That thing didn't go away.
It turned out okay.
Elon
though.
Musk's like, I'm about to put this badass chip in your head. You're gonna download fucking.
Dude, he's a fucking alien, dude. You watch him on Rogan.
Can it make me sing?
He looks like an alien trying to figure out how to be human when he talks.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like,
It's
I'm
pretty
trying
crazy.
He's
to
ahead of
say
his time.
things right now.
It
I
is
don't.
pretty crazy.
He's fucking.
He's ahead of his time. Think about it. What is it? SpaceX or whatever the fuck? It takes
to be
off
honest
and it
with
can
you-
land in the same spot perfectly.
I've listened to some other
Fucking nuts.
physicists who say SpaceX is a fucking joke and it's gonna go nowhere. That we're gonna learn how to harness gravity, and that's
we already
how-
have.
We already have
Anti-gravity
But
propulsion.
Anti-gravity
That's what Bob
propulsion.
Lazar said.
Dude,
Yep.
anti-gravity
He's-
propulsion though is the way that space that we're gonna
Magnetic
travel
propulsion.
space, not through rockets. So Elon Musk in that aspect actually looks like a fucking.
I think it's
Burning
gonna be outdated.
fuel to get somewhere is
It's fucking
not
crazy.
efficient
It's
whatsoever.
not.
Exactly.
Anti gravity propulsion
Yeah.
mechanisms
Ne-
is instantaneous travel.
We've been
Magnet
there.
to magnet. Yeah, we're getting there.
Now I'm in. Now I'm in. Dude, we've been there, I think, since the 70s.
Dude,
Terry,
we're 10 years away from
this is
that.
the best.
We're 10 years away from that.
This is not the best. Can we go back to talk about songs you made while smoking crack? Play one of those fucking
Hey,
songs.
when I was shooting coke,
I'm
I
about to
felt like an
relapse.
anti-gravity
Someone else
propulsion
talk about-
mechanism, dude.
Hey, process. I need a bed.
Check him back in afterwards.
Oh shit, Chris, fucking play a song.
Well, you and I are ascending. We're going to fucking leave
Yes.
these
No,
guys.
No, I just said I'd take the chip. You leave me
I'm
behind.
gonna fucking zip off.
You don't
like
leave me
Superman.
behind. Fucking with a chip in my head. You guys just gonna take off, dude?
Nico, how much time we got left? Fuck.
Yeah. Jay's gonna be on the scooter. On the fucking scooty.
Hey, just refusing to assist.
Just refuse
I just
it.
want to paint graffiti. I don't wanna-
I'm using cheap gas. Fuck whatever he's talking about.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Oh man, I love that shit though. Cause how can we? How it's like
What, crack?
No.
How can we get away with smoking?
No, I like, dude. There's so many things that why people get uncomfortable, and I know it's like when Justin first put me onto quantum physics. I watched this dude, and it was making my brain hurt
Yeah,
when he was
it's tough to
talking about
understand.
when he was talking about the light, and when he was talking about the different perceptions of it. When you view it,
Only exists when the
Oh man, and it was literally making, because I'm trying to follow along and I'm trying to comprehend, but my mind's like, what is this? Like fucking, it's this new information that but even if you go back as far as like, all right, that sounds crazy, but here's the deal, right? You're a drug addict. Here's the solution. I'm going to round up a bunch of other drug addicts. We're going to go in a dusty basement. We're going to share feelings.
Get
That's
the
it.
fuck out. When you first say that,
Give me the chip.
give me the brain chip.
Do I sniff this? Or does
Some
it
people
get-
might think like the Ascension sounds a little more reasonable than that, right? Hey, I'm gonna get about 100 of you fucking heroin addicts. We're gonna go find a wicked, dark, dusty basement, and we're just gonna sit in a circle, and we're just gonna try to share honestly.
honestly, what we're doing in recovery and what we do in recovery is, we don't even realize it, is 100% part of this Ascension.
Exactly. It's spiritual
you
in
know.
nature. It's energy based. It's that simple.
No, absolutely.
So-
It's
Like
the power
when-
in the collective. It's the power in the collective in the rooms, the people around us. It's the power of a network. When you think about a network like this whole shit, like fucking energy, like shit like that, like the same thing, man. My network kept me clean prior to me ever doing work on myself for long lengths of time. It was that feeling I got of safety. Like, or just the idea of someone knew what I knew in my head. Like someone felt what I felt. It was like, all right, I'm around them. I feel safe. I can breathe. For today, while even I hadn't even done any true work on myself, my mind was still fucked up. We lived together for fucking 5 years, forever, bro. We were throwing keg parties in fucking houses, clean. You know what I mean?
Where were you guys live? I remember that.
Seafoam Ave.
Yeah, Seafoam.
Let's clarify.
The Ascension,
We weren't drinking.
Ascension just
We
to let
weren't
you know,
drinking.
Jay.
We weren't drinking, but the girls were that were coming over. Like we were literally out of our mind.
crazy.
We used to drive
Look at
around with
college years. Look
a.
at
We
Chris,
used to
like-
drive around. This was our recovery. We used to drive around in a beat up fucking like whatever vehicle with a little MacBook, and we'd freestyle rap about what we saw. We literally and recorded
After the
on the
Celtics
Mac,
game.
and then we printed our own mixtapes and shit. Like
fucking
fucking.
awesome.
Yeah.
It was the connection
The
component.
connection, man. Making bonds, making unbreakable bonds through you know,
Yeah, and we talk about
common
that all the
things.
time. I was with him the first time he went back to funk, and we've mentioned that in prior episodes. But I love those stories now. You know, because that's
absolutely.
that was the start of what the fuck it is now.
Yeah.
Even though you don't dance still, and you know things have changed, but those bonds, like when you're saying, oh, if you just said years ago, oh, put 100 fucking addicts. I didn't think meetings worked years ago, and that seemed crazy. But I at least a lot of it was just resistant. I seen what was going on, and I know we joke because when you go into these conversations, like I did the Marconics. You know, we were talking about that last week when you're saying the quantum physics and stuff that Justin gets on. A lot of that stuff intrigues me. It's just sometimes it goes to such a level where I'm literally sitting there and I'm just like,
Well, you break
What
it.
the
I get
fuck
it.
are they
But
saying?
I want to break it down for you. The human
yeah.
ascension ultimately, Jay, is the fucking fire pit meeting with the whole fucking world 24/7. It's the vibration of everybody just fucking loving everybody else and literally living in a vibration. That's us being rocketed. Well, not rocketed to a fourth dimension. We're talking about going to fifth dimension at this point.
Isn't it like the fourth density? Or
Fourth
something?
density, fifth dimension, but
Lost
it's
me.
literally just living in a vibration of love and compassion. The thing that
I'm
stops
like,
us
go ahead, yeah.
from living in love and compassion is our thought forms, our belief systems. Our belief systems are what separates us. So as we ascend here, we're going to be capable of living in that vibration all the time.
Yeah, they break it down, and
oh, in simpler forms, I understand what you're saying. Sometimes we have a hard time with 14 clients, never mind 14 billion people.
I get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Never-
I don't
people
even
aren't
think
always
you need
gonna
to
buy into
think
that.
in that level. It's like this: we're all energy moving forward. Energy takes the path of least resistance. That's all you got to do. Just ride that wave. Energy takes the path of least resistance. You know, and like you say in the Ascension thing, when you're doing the fire pit meeting, you're already a part of it.
Yeah.
Think about how
Exactly.
amazing those gatherings are.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not like a newcomer would walk in, or we'd go bring someone into their fucking first group at Process and be like, "Here's Terry and Justin. They're gonna break down fucking Ascension for you." No, that people be like, "What the? Am I still high?"
Sorry, guys, this
Have you
guys
been?
want-
Have you
Calling the
been
dude
to
by
any-
that night. I ain't in the bed.
have you been to any of my groups? Apparently not.
No, yeah, but no, you break down. You have a foundation of where you ease into
I'm
it.
just kidding.
Even me,
Yeah,
I
but-
talk about the power of the mind, but I get it. I start slow, right? I break it down, and I always tell people this is chapter 1 of fucking the 100 chapters of my mind. Like, and I'm just giving them like the basis, quick snap. But it's and pretty much like this podcast, it's like obviously the foundation for a lot of people is going to be 12-step recovery. But what we're always trying to say is like go out there and like. And seek out and get, there's so much valuable insight and information. Like when I talk about I'm a student to recovery, I don't say I'm a student to NA or I'm a student to AA. I'm a student to the process of recovery. That recovery being spiritual, mental, fit, like all this stuff that we talk
It all
about.
ties in.
That's I incorporate God. I incorporate, like I told you, I'm reading a book about Jesus right now. Like I incorporate all these different things, and if it can invoke an emotion in me or make me feel a certain thing, I'm led and guided by that. If I literally I'm ADD when I'm reading. Like I'm reading a book about Jesus, and I'm also reading a book about the 5 laws of success, 4 laws of success. I read multiple books, like different things. I'll watch Joe Dispenza, and then I'll watch Jordan Peterson, and then I'll watch TD Jakes, who's a black pastor. You know what I mean? Like I'm constantly
You're taking in
yeah.
knowledge, feeding
it, man.
feeding. There's a never-ending supply of these things. And like you were saying, when you, like this time around, I realized that not one avenue of I can't just pick one avenue of recovery. I'm the type of guy like the rest of us, like most of us, where I need an array of things to feed myself spiritually.
Yeah.
I can't just do the 12 steps. 12 steps are great, and they will provide a great life for me, and they will get rid of a bunch of shit. But if I don't incorporate a bunch of other things that resonate with me spiritually, I've learned through my experience that I'm completely fucked. I can't just
you have
choose-
too many creative avenues that enter.
It's
that
like
will
all
not-
of
you
us,
can't
though.
do one
It's
thing.
we are humans that need to be fed spirituality from many different avenues. You can get it in so many different places.
A lot of people relapse due to COVID because when meetings shut down, that was their recovery, was just going to meetings.
So then you're like, fuck, what else do I have to do here? And
you don't have a leg to stand on if you don't have anything
and if
else.
you're in a good if you were in a good spot, you know what I mean, you could figure out other avenues of spirituality. You know? I had to do that before COVID.
I was talking to a kid today. He was talking about, like, we talk about energy and stuff like that, and he was talking about how at a certain part of the day, like, he was affected by somebody and the way that they talked to him and all this stuff and his energy, and he was like, I was off all day, I couldn't shake it. And then I went to the fire pit meeting. Jay brought a speaker and all this stuff, and like, he spoke, and it was like, and it moved me, and then I felt better. And then like this morning I got up and he was just like going through it, and I was talking about, like, this is the basic foundation of it, but what you got to understand is, so you have one energy access right now, and through your process and your journey, you're going to have multiple energy accesses, and next thing you know, as you continuously go, you're going to be surrounded by energy accesses. That's what keeps me safe. It's like, if this one ain't here, this one's here, and if this one ain't here, this one's here. And it comes in the form of people, it comes in the form of practices that you do, like Justin's really big. He's got a ton of stuff that he does in conjunction with other things that he does. You know what I mean? For me, I've been meditating the last couple of days. I'm not as but I'm constantly feeding my brain with like intellects. Maybe I'm more in the knowledge base right now. But like constantly feeding my mind with sources of energy that and if it's not that, sometimes I'm not getting it from the information and the knowledge. And I'm getting it from music, right? Because music evokes emotion. And my song list is the most, doesn't make sense to anybody. You know what I mean? There's Broadway musicals on there. There's fucking rap. There's you. And then there's fucking Rick James. You know, it's like there's music throughout my life that provokes something in me internally. And that makes me, and especially they prove it, like when you provoke emotion, when you're trying to learn something too, you're going to
retain it.
You'll retain it.
Yep.
So that also helps me, like if I'm
spiritual diet.
Yes, absolutely, a full spiritual diet, man.
And I also, like, subconsciously too, when I first got sober, I was reading about hacking your brain subconsciously, and I learned from when you're born till 6 years old, your subconscious mind is programmed, and then after that, that's what you live with for the rest of your life. And the only other times that you can reprogram your subconscious mind is as you're going to sleep and when you're waking up. It's a certain brainwave. Do you know about this?
Yeah,
Delta, I think.
It's Delta, yeah.
So when you're in Delta, you can retain. What do we got?
3 minutes.
Go ahead. Keep going with that. This is perfect to end on.
So I figured I'm walking through life with a subconscious mind of the things that happened to me from 0 to 6, and I have no control over that part of my brain, and that's navigating my whole life, and it's making me react to certain situations, and my subconscious brain can't differentiate what kind of trauma I'm experiencing. It just recognizes it as trauma or whatever happened to me at that age. So how do I reprogram? The only time I can retain that is through routine, constant routine, and I would go to bed listening to positive affirmations, and I would put it on a 10-hour one, so I would sleep to it and I would wake up to it. And I personally believe that I was able to hack that part of my subconscious brain and retain self-worth things from that.
And continuous repetition is the mother of all skill. We are coming to the end of this podcast, Nico, not even because we wanted to end. The cameras are running out of battery. But the repetition is the mother of all skill in the subconscious mind. I talk about it takes the information that we feed it. That's why it's so important, the information that we feed
people
it.
Should read The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy.
Yeah, I probably botched that whole thing, but I kind of researched a little
It's a great book to read.
But I want to thank my guests. We're definitely gonna have you back on here. We'll do a whole fucking let's go a whole show right down that rabbit hole, man. It'll be dope. But I want to thank Terry Right Hook, obviously.
Thank you for having me.
Shout out again to our sponsors, Rich Print Shop, and thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that shit. Peace.
Peace.
Fucking sick.